Hello, this is Andy McKegg. I'm a strategic account manager here for Henry Schein. I just wanted to give a quick video on standardizations and also formularies for hospital systems. I been with Henry Schein for about 7 years now, and I work on the strategic side. So we work with a lot of IDNs and urgent cares. And one of the main things that they look for is standardizing their products. Some folks try to do it from the hospital system down to the clinics. Most kind of keep that separate, where they will standardize in the hospital and then they'll also standardize in the clinics. Really makes it easier on clinicians, physicians, PAs, nurses, medical assistants, just because if they ever do float or travel, they're able to use a lot of the same products clinic to clinic. So let's just take, for example, you have 50 clinics. All of your clinics are using the same gloves, same needles, same syringes. So a lot easier when folks actually have to float and go to different facilities. So when we talk about standardization, it kind of goes hand in hand with formularies. So what a formulary would do is, let's just say Henry Schein has about 195,000 products. Well, what you would do is you'd want to set up a formulary of only about 1,000 or 2,000 products for your clinic group or your facility, just to make it a lot easier on your your purchasing associates and ordering folks. It might be just a lot easier for them digging around in 195,000 items. Is really it becomes very tough on staff. And so when you put it into 1,000 to 2,000 items, just a lot easier to get around, a lot easier for folks to learn the system. New people training doesn't become a burden, and then you can always add or subtract items. So we try to do business reviews and try to look at those formularies just to keep those numbers down. Try to take a look at what folks are actually ordering. Why was this on formulary to start with? Has it been ordered over the last year? Things like that. So I just wanted to do this video just to see if I can help out and kind of explain the process of what standardization would look like, what happens to systems over a course of 2 to 4 years or even longer with a variety of their products. So let's just take this for an example. So this is a document that we put together for a customer. And as you can see here, we'll just use this as an example. So actually, you know what? I'll go to the 1x3 bandages. So these are just your regular Band-Aids here in row 21. These are your 1x3. Most of them are going to be your flexible and tan bandages. So you can see here that through their system, and they have about probably 150 clinics, 200 clinics. So they don't have a formulary. They're not standardized at this point. So what you can see here is they use about 9 to 10 different tan flexible bandages. And you ask, why would that be? Why is that happening? Why would you want to use 10 different bandages? And unless of a back order situation or some type of raw material situation or anything like that, you really would just want to standardize and move it to just one Band-Aid. So as you can see here, what we did was we listed all of the products they were using. We listed all of the descriptions, the strengths, the contents, just to make sure that those looked correct, just in case there was any 50 to a box, 100 to a box. We listed your vendor part number, your manufacturer part numbers. And then what we'd like to look at is how many of these quantities were shipped throughout your entire system. So you can see here that there's a variety of different numbers when it comes to quantities. When you look up here, you can see that Henry Schein, the Henry Schein brand is actually shipping to most of their sites, but then you have Ducal, you have National Distribution, you have Johnson & Johnson, BSN, Medline, Medtronic. So what we would look at this point is we would talk to the system and say, you're using about 9 to 10 different Band-Aids. And when we look to standardization, most of your folks are going to be using our brand, which is going to be the least expensive brand and also on most GPOs. So we would take a look and say, why don't we flip over to this? We would do obviously a cost comparison, make sure that it does make sense for the system, and then show savings. And then what we would do is on the formulary, we would wipe all of these other bandages off and only put this item number on, which was the 1126133. So as we scroll over on the sheet, we add another couple columns here that shows, okay, what is going to be the most cost-effective alternative for them? Let's just say these quantities spent were all over the board and it was 50, 50, 50, and they were using pretty much the same amount with all of their bandages. So what we would do is we would put our private label alternative, do a cost comparison, and then we would just want to move to this bandage. So this happens quite a bit with a variety of items. I mean, you can see as we go through this, it happens with these consumable products, bandages. As you can see here, this is, again, probably about 15 items. They're basically clinically the same, maybe some different sizes, and of course we would look over that and try to find the best one. But again, there's no reason to be using 4 different versions of the same product just with different vendors, unless there's some type of physician preference or nurse preference that has to happen. We always obviously look for the latex-free and the best solution, but we also want to look at cost as well. So, kind of as you scroll down here, you can see some are better than others. But some of these bandages, just to start out with, adhesive. These are some of the 3/4 by 3, and you can see here this is probably 30 items of the same. And as you scroll over, you can see they use a variety of just different vendors. And so it's just very interesting when you really take a look. It's hard to look at it from a ship to perspective, but when you take a look at a system perspective, you really can see that there's a lot of cleanup to do, and it really can go a long way in saving a lot of cost and saving a lot of money for your system. And then also, again, it's just a lot easier on your staff than trying to pick kind of a needle out of it, needle in a haystack. So again, as you can see, another bandage here. And so we looked personally for this system, we looked at gloves, and we saw that they were using about 60 different gloves throughout 200 sites. We looked at some of the Henry Schein gloves, some of the most cost-effective gloves, of course, nitrile gloves, latex-free, that are going to be at your best price point. And then, of course, we want to do some sampling and things like that to make sure that all of your staff members agree on the glove. And with something like glove or bandages, you could always put 2 or 3 items on your formulary. But think about it. If you were in 60 or 70 different categories of products, if you wanted to look for the best item in each category, or you had 9 to 10 items in each of those categories, that really starts to fill up your formulary fast. So this is an easy way to shrink down formulary, save money, standardize your product, and then move on to different things like local contracts and really digging in. But if you don't have standardization and you don't have a formulary, it really stops you from going to the next step of local contracts, GPO contracts, and really digging into your cost savings. So I hope this really helps. Again, this is Andy McKegg. I'm a strategic account manager for Henry Schein. I'm on LinkedIn. I have a YouTube channel. So if there's anything that we can do to help, or you wanted to look into your system or your formularies or your standardization, we'd love to run some of these reports for you. So I hope you have a great day. Thank you.